What's going on, everybody? I'm BIGboi FASTboi, and thank you so much for checking out the very first video that I've posted here on YouTube on my brand new YouTube channel, BIGboi FASTboi. On my channel, you can expect to see ride videos, technical videos, PEV events, rider features, along with the occasional PEV-related product video that I've either found to be really helpful for me in my riding, or maybe I've formed an opinion about a product that I really feel like I need to convey or communicate that message to my audience. For my first video, I'm going to talk a little bit about this brand new Begode RS HT that I just purchased from RevRides. I also want to talk about the importance of inspecting the wheel before stepping foot on it, and in this video, you're going to find out why. And of course, no YouTube video would be complete without me begging you for your support by hitting that like and subscribe button. This is a brand new channel, folks, so if you like the content or you find it helpful, entertaining, or you just like to clown on me, help me out, hit that like button, subscribe, share with your friends. Let's get this channel rocking so I can make some more content for you guys. On with the video. Alright, so we've got the Begode RS HT from RevRides here on its side, and by now we've unboxed it, we've done a quick visual inspection, we've made sure that the tire has air in it, the unit turns on, we've taken it out of transport mode. We're ready to pretty much do an inspection of the inside of this Begode RS HT. I think it's really important to open these things up when you get a brand new wheel. Even if you've purchased a used wheel from somebody on the third market, you just don't know what it's been through, and the very least that you should do and can do is pop the panels off of it, do a quick visual inspection. We're going to be looking for dust, we're going to be looking for water ingress. This is a new unit, so we don't really need to worry about the dust and water, but what we are going to do is we're going to check and make sure all of the batteries are securely connected. We're going to make sure all the wires are run in ways that they aren't going to get pinched, caught up, stretched, stressed out, anything like that. Sometimes when these wheels are put together from factory, unfortunately it is rushed. Wires can get pinched. Cables can be loosely connected, and if you have a loose connection in there, those can become disconnected sometime while you're riding, and that could absolutely be catastrophic. So it's really important to open these things up, take a quick visual inspection. I think that's the least amount of due diligence everybody should have when they get a new wheel, and I'm going to show you how I go through that process right now. So here we go. First off, you're going to need a few tools. As you can see over here, I've got a few things for the job. I've got an electric screwdriver here with a #1 Phillips. That's what the Begode company uses, is the #1 Phillips screws. I have a T30 hex bit. That'll be what I use to get the pedals off. You may also see I've got some hex bolts down here. I don't really care for the Phillips screws that come from the factory. They do tend to strip out pretty easily. So I went on Amazon and I purchased a package of these M3x12 hex screws. I think they're a little stronger, they're not going to corrode, they don't strip out as easily, and yeah, they just make life a lot easier. This is an optional one. I'm going to go ahead and throw them on here since I have them. On the side here, I've got a few other things that I do plan on installing. One of them here is actually the Samsung Smart Tag Plus. Essentially what this is a tracking device, and I'm going to install this in the wheel. So if the wheel were to ever be stolen, I can track it down and collect what's mine. I'll be making a video on this shortly. Another great thing that I'll be installing in this wheel is the EXO buzzer. It's much like the Speed Guardian that a lot of you have seen out there on the market. A good friend of mine and mentor, Rokni, gave this to us to install on this wheel so that Live for EUC would be safe. So thank you so much, Rokni. And speaking of Rokni, you know, none of the things that I'm doing here today are things that I figured out on my own. Everything that I have learned through the community or somebody on YouTube. I have to give a lot of credit to my friend Ray, because when I first started writing EUC, a lot of the videos that I was watching late at night happened to be Rokni's videos. He has a great library of technical information on his YouTube channel, things that he's learned through experience and working with other people and working with the manufacturers. He's such a wealth of knowledge, and I just want to thank him and all of the other great influencers that are out there on YouTube sharing information so that this sport and hobby can grow. So if you guys are looking for some more technical information, some tutorials, just some general knowledge, I'll put a link to Ray's channel in the description, or you can just go into the YouTube search bar and type in Rokni, and you're going to find hours and hours of really informative videos out there. He's a great guy. check them out. I also went ahead and printed up a front and rear bumper for the RS, and we're gonna install the mudguard. Some people have had some issues installing this on some of the other models because of a manufacturing issue. This one doesn't have the issue, so it seems like Begode has fixed that. So you shouldn't have any problems installing the mudguard on the latest version of the Begodes. Let's get started taking off the pedals here. We have to take the pedals off anyways in order to get this whole side panel off. While we take the side panel off, we're actually going to replace the screws that are securing the panel to the inner shell. I'm not really a huge fan of the #1 Phillips screws that Begode uses on their wheels. I'm actually a bigger fan of these aftermarket screws that I picked up. They're an M3x12 socket head cap screw. They're stainless steel, so they shouldn't have any corrosion issues, and they don't strip out very easily, so they should last for a long time to come without any hassles. Anytime I get a chance to replace a Phillips head on the outside of one of these wheels, I typically do it. They take such a beating over time, and we get in and out of them for maintenance reasons. It's just such a pain in the butt to have to fight these things, getting them in and out all the time. And this is a really cheap, quick, and easy solution to making sure you don't have to fight it. We need to take the pedals off on both sides in order to take the outer panel off. I believe this is a number 6 Allen. I'm just using that to take this out. And set these aside, don't lose them. Ooh, she's tight in there, boys. I'm getting it. All right, here we go. All right, so we'll just go ahead and pull this axle shaft out. Careful, you're gonna have a couple of bushings fall out the bottom here. I'm just gonna stop those with my fingers. Pull that pedal off of there. Got the bushings. These are just little spacers to stop your pedals from shifting forward and back. Definitely don't wanna lose those. Many people will be installing some new pedals on their new wheel, so this would be a great time to do it after you do your inspection. Got my Phillips on here. Let me go ahead and take I'm just going around here and removing the screws from the outer shell cover. And remember, I'm going to be replacing these screws, so I'm not really too concerned with losing them. And see, this is a really good example. Whoever tightened this up already stripped this screw. So we're gonna have to get that out another way. That's no good. Yep, and that is why we are gonna be replacing these screws. It's also why people give BIGboi a hard time. I think it's been really easy to just replace that screw at the factory. But we'll do it now. I think we got it that time. Yeah, that thing is horrible. Wow. I know Marty Beck likes to put painter's tape over these screw holes so that he doesn't lose the screws. But we're not doing that today. All right, so you're just going to work your fingers around the outer edge here. You're going to loosen those screw catches, make sure that they're all fully unscrewed, which this one isn't quite. Just work your way around. Sometimes when you take the screwdriver off, it'll a little half turn in there. It doesn't take much. And then you'll feel a little bit of tension on the inside where there's probably some adhesive between between the shell and the battery. So I'm just gonna pull it up. I'm not gonna tip it so the screws don't go flying everywhere. And there's the first look. So it looks like we've got the cover over the motherboard there. XT60, you can tell that is firmly seated. They've got a main fuse here in line with the batteries now, which is nice. This is, surprisingly, check that out. We've got the Samsung 50E 900 watt hour pack in here. I'm assuming that's also on the other side. And as we all know, there's been a lot of scrutiny about the LG 50E, I believe they are 900 watt hour packs. So Samsung has been said to be the superior pack to have. So I'm really happy to see that in the latest version of the Gotways here. All of these connectors seem to be nice and tight. No gaps or anything like that. I'm just gonna go around and make sure everything looks good. There's several connectors in here. Now, I do want to warn you guys that typically you don't want to go poking and prying in these wheels too much without first removing or unplugging the main power source to the control board. I'm not planning on getting into the control board. Some people like to do a visual. Right now, we're just going around. We're looking at all the wires, making sure nothing is pinched, nothing is overly stretched. You know, everything looks to be pretty decent here. I don't have any big complaints yet. You saw I pulled off this foam. This is Begode's way of protecting these connectors, and also not only giving them a little more insulation, but stopping some rattling that may occur while riding. Now this is interesting. Here's something I found. Speaking of rattling, it looks like a, I guess, oh yeah, this is a stud for something. This is a stud for something that should be screwed into it that's broken. So, you know, that's a good clue that there's probably something here that a screw isn't going to mount into, or something may be loose. So we're going to keep an eye out for where this may have come from. Interesting. It actually may have come from right here, this top piece. It's on the inner shell. So that's where that piece came from, unfortunately. And the bad part about that is that's part of the inner shell, which is a little bit more work to replace. So I'll have to reach out to RevRides and see what they want me to do about that. It's a pretty clean break. It's right where the brass, let's see if you can see that. It's right where the end of the brass fitting is on the inside of the plastic, and that's this side is where the outer shell screws into. So I may see if they'll just let me epoxy that together, and you know, if it becomes an issue later on, maybe they'll take care of me. So we'll see what we have to do about that. Anyways, so this is why we do the inspections. You know, this could be seen as substantial to some people, and they don't want something that's broken. Another interesting thing that I'm seeing is that there's no brass. Oh wow, these things just fell off. Very interesting. All of these, this is the second one. Now we have a problem. This wheel is going to have to be exchanged, unfortunately. This inner shell has two broken, I guess, standoff stanchions. Shoot, man. 3, actually. That's the one that caught my eye initially. It doesn't look broken, but it doesn't have a brass fitting in it either. What a bummer. You know, this is exactly why we open these wheels, to do an inspection before we ride them. You know, we haven't even taken this on the street, or it hasn't even been outside yet, actually. After discovering the 2 broken posts, I reached out to RevRides to see what I could do. I'm really happy to report that their response was quick and very reassuring to me. I was told that I could epoxy the broken post back on in the meantime, and that the new inner shell would be ordered under warranty. What this does is it keeps me writing the RS for now and allows me to continue the break-in process, and it fixes the long-term issue of the shell possibly having a shorter service life due to the loose parts on the wheel. Having missing screws and mostly plastic parts keeping everything together means that the force that would normally be taken by the screws that are missing is now imparted on the remaining screws and posts, which surely could lead to premature braking and unexpected downtime somewhere down the line. I really appreciated that RevRides was not only interested in fixing the problem, but they also gave me a temporary solution so that I could avoid any downtime with this new beast of a machine I've been dying to ride. Alright, so let's go ahead and kind of continue the inspection and see if we can find anything else. I want to show you guys what I'm looking at when we open these wheels so you can tell if you have any kind of issues or potential issues on the horizon. What I think happened here is, as you saw when I was unscrewing this, one of the screws was severely stripped. It's a good indication that someone was probably using a power tool, kind of like this, but much torqueier. And he just drove too much power. These plastic parts cannot take a lot of tension on them, and I can almost guarantee you what happened is these guys were screwed down so tight that they broke just beyond the copper sleeve in there that has the threads and broke the plastic off. So you guys have to be really careful about how much tension you put on these screws, which kind of leads me to what I do when I check these screws that secure the inner shell to the pedal hangers. Since this is hardly carrying any weight, these do not need to be tight. And in fact, let's see, these actually seem to be maybe overly tight. Yeah, well, they're good. So what you want on these screws is to be one finger nice and tight. You should feel a good amount of pressure on the center of your index there, but it should not be wrenched on, because what happens is as you jar this wheel around, careful with the leads, as you jar this wheel around, if you have a lot of tension built up behind these screws, the tension's held in the plastic, so it's going to crack. This is not a load-bearing area, and a lot of people tend to over-crank these screws, and it causes cracking and wear and inner shell problems, and then you have several $100 problem that you have to deal with. So make sure that you're only going a little beyond snug on these screws, and some people even take some of that kafooter. It's like a silicone sealant that's gooped up all on the inside of the control board beneath this heat shield. But you can just put a little dab going from the screw down onto the inner shell housing, and that'll kind of act as a lock washer and prevent them from backing out. All the screws here seem, well, there's only a couple screws that I can see, but they all seem fine. I don't think I'm going to pull the control board cover off of this. I'm going to go ahead and talk to RevRides first and see what they want me to do before I get into this thing any further. But there you go. This is exactly why we open up the wheel and do the inspection. As we've seen in this video, these wheels don't always come perfect from the manufacturer, and that's why it's so important to find a reputable dealer to work with when purchasing them, so that if you do have a warranty issue, you don't have to navigate through that yourself. It is a mess. It is so nice to have a company that'll be your advocate and handle those warranty situations for you and even get them expedited. You do not want to get stuck dealing with an overseas company trying to get warranty work done. Take it from me. Now, I know most of you watching this right now have already purchased your EUC and you're trying to learn what to do next. So I hope that I've answered some of those questions for you today. Some of you may be on the fence in terms of what EUC to purchase or where to purchase from, and I just wanted to make a quick recommendation of RevRides. I really like RevRides because they're a family-owned and operated business, but they're also run by PEV enthusiasts for PEV enthusiasts. Since 2018, RevRides has invested in growing the PEV community. They have sponsored several riders, and they have a presence at just about every PEV event in the country. And that says a lot coming from a mom and pop shop. These are the companies that we should be supporting in our community, the ones that invest in us. Not only does RevRides invest in the community, but they also offer fantastic customer service. If you're interested in learning more about RevRides or you'd like to make a purchase through them, you can check the description below, and I've got a coupon code BIGboi, BIGboi. It'll save you $50 on your purchase of $500 or more, and just know that it's supporting a great company, and you're also supporting this channel. I'm planning on attending a couple of mixed format PEV events this year. One of them is going to be this February 20th at the Apple Valley Speedway, and the other one's going to be the Amped Electric Games in Bentonville, Arkansas this September. So be looking for some more announcements regarding those events here coming real soon. Any of the revenues or proceeds made from these affiliate purchases will go directly to those trips. Definitely check back here for some more details on those events. Also, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'm going to have a lot of content coming out your way real soon. See you guys soon. BIGboi FASTboi. We're out.